let's get started. We're going to be talking about listings, listing presentation, and typically what we like to do before the listing. I'm going to start with the listing presentation because I figured, Jacob, every time we do something, we want to do like two things in one, and we never end up getting to part two. All right.
Exactly.
So I want to start with the listing presentation. And I don't think you've ever seen this, Jacob, and you're on the team. Have you ever seen Luis's listing presentation?
I'm not even going to lie to you. I've never actually done a listing presentation.
Yeah, you don't typically need to. So don't worry about it. I'm showing this to you because sometimes we actually break this out. But if I can think back of the times that I've done it, it's not very many times. We typically just win the listing from sending the pre-stuff, like the breakdown and everything. So what we're going to show you right here, don't get overwhelmed. Just use what you can. It's one example of many. We've got a lot of different listing presentations. So, Alex, wow, Jacob, you show up and you get the listing most of the time. I mean, dude, pretty much it's a relation. Jacob does it a little bit differently. So who's ready for the listing? Give me a yes. I need some energy. I wish I was playing some music in the background. Thanks, Jacob. I wasn't talking to you, but
I'm used to just being in the chat.
Buddy. I know you're used to, we're seeing you. We're on a dual screen here. All right, let me open it up. So most of you know that we've got our team spread out between different brokerages. So one of our agents is with Douglas Elliman, and he's been with Douglas Elliman for years. In fact, I was with Douglas Elliman before in the past, temporarily. Well, and then we switched back to KW, now with EXP. But this is the presentation that Douglas Elliman made for Luis. I don't think we touched this very much. So the cool thing about it is that they make these for the agents based on where they're located. And so we're going to go through so you can see what the listing presentation is composed of. And then we'll send out to everybody who registered. We'll send this out after. So they have a cover. Remember, Douglas Elliman does a very, very good job of outlining. Here, let me start on page 1. And of course, it froze on me. All right. Douglas Elliman does a very good job on designing. So their design skills are almost as legendary as Jacob's.
Oh, boy.
Jacob's pretty good.
Hype me up too much.
You know what? Let me zoom out so everyone can see the whole picture. So this one was for this person who owns this home. They do this specific to properties. And so what we like to do is have this specifically for someone. We try to make it as authentic as possible, saying, hey, look, we put some palm trees. We know you're located in Malibu. This is where it is. We've got a little bit of Luis, so you can see who he is. He works in Malibu, Conejo Valley, Calabasas, West LA. Just a little bit of let me see if I can zoom in. That might be too small for some of you. But if you can't see, just tell me in the chat. Jacob, if somebody has any questions, just prompt me because I can't see the chat.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
So the idea here is to have a little bit about you, even though the listing presentation isn't about you, right? It's really about what problems we can solve for the client. And this is why a lot of the times Jacob and I don't bust out listing presentations, because we're there to listen. We hope that this got to the client ahead of time. If they have any questions, we do it this way. It tells you a little bit about Douglas Elliman, so you know when they were created in 1911, goes through this process. Again, it's trying to make you connect with the actual company, giving you a bigger scope. And I don't know that anybody does this, Jacob, because the very first time I took a look at this, I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. Like I would like to do that for EXP and be like, hey, this is when we started. Or with Keller Williams, like this is when it started. Let me show you the projection and the trajectory of it. Yeah, Eliana, I moved to EXP about 3 months ago. I became the chief marketing officer for the company. So now I help run Success Enterprises. So there you go. But now going back to this, I love this idea here because now I can understand what the company, how old the company is. In this case, it's pretty old, right? and any influence that it does have. It's an old school company. And then you can talk to that. You can slow down. You can keep going. And then the strength in the numbers. I think for some people, this is really important, especially the engineers, the analyticals. They want to understand who they're working with, right? And you'll know that right off the bat when you're talking to them. And I started with this first because if I started with the questions, we would never get to this. So once we're done with this, if we have some time, I'll go to the pre-listing questions, because then you'll be able to determine who you're dealing with a lot better. And if I'm missing any questions, let me know. Historical journey lends to experience. Carol, right? It's so true. And Julie, what program are you creating using to send this out? They typically use Canva. You can have this done in Canva. You can have designers design it in Canva. It's fairly easy. And if it's just you, then definitely get a template, or if you have an assistant, have them work on it as well. I know in our office, we've got a designer marketer, so they can just build this all out for us per listing. So here you've got some stats. It's important. We're looking at extremely high level. So this is Douglas Elliman as a whole. This is not Douglas Elliman individually per like just the Malibu one. All right. So then we go on to the next one, and you can see you only get one chance to make billions of first impressions. So then we go, hey, look, these are the places that we're going to showcase your property or that we work with. And then you can go through them, right? And in this case, they do. And then we go a little bit more deeper into social media. Here are our social stats. And you know what, dude? I'm talking to you, Jacob, at this point. No other company has done that. Like nobody shows me. Like I'd like to see, like, show me what EXP's got on Instagram, on YouTube, on all of these channels. Show me what Keller Williams has got. Right. And it's your duty, your job listening in, not only your broker stats, your stats as well, like on a local level. Jacob does such a great job on his Instagram. You know what? Let me pop that one up. Didn't I pop yours up last time, Jake?
I think so. I don't know. I think it'd be cool too, also to add in your analytics. Like if you really want to jump into it, show people like, hey, on my average post, I reach 20,000 people, and out of that, 1,500 of them engage. You know what I mean? I think that'd be really interesting.
Such a good point. We can't do that on a broker level unless the broker allows you to, or even on a local brokerage level. Right. But individually, dude, that is amazing. I'm trying to find yours, Jacob. So I don't want to showcase mine, just to show what people, what you're doing. Jacob Stiegel, there it is. All right. So if I'm going to go through, part of the presentation that I'm going to showcase is showing my Instagram and whatever other channels you've got. Thanks for posting your handle there. So we've got Jacob's here, and we've got three options, right? Reels, tagged, and posts. And right here, we can take a look at his cadence and what he does. He showcases some properties. He talks about what he's doing, more property, his fiance, and what he's up to. So do me a favor, follow Jacob, because I know he's going to go deeper into what he's doing on Instagram. So follow him for a great example of what he does. And you can also see Jacob Stiegel, realtor. So he tells us he's a real estate agent. All right. So enough about that. Let's go to follow him, and let's go to this. So we've got the stats: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and I'd throw in probably YouTube if you have a following, or if your brokerage has a following on YouTube, and TikTok as well. YouTube probably has the biggest reach out of all of them, so I'd look at that as well. Power of the press. Now, this one falls really well with Douglas Elliman because they do such a great job. When I was with Douglas Elliman, I feel like I'm promoting them now, but when I was with Douglas Elliman, we sold 2 homes just off of the press they gave, which was insane. And they were in Malibu. So if your company does press, any PR, make sure you showcase that as well, because remember, you're solving a problem for the person you're presenting to. What is that problem? Typically, it's they want to get the most amount of money in the least amount of time. And that's going to require you to show them how you do this through the power of PR, right? This is why we did social media. This is why we did, what else did we do over here? Press. And now we scroll down, public relations. Now, you always want to compare what you're doing versus other companies. Now, Douglas Elliman typically compares against Compass and Sotheby's locally. So that's who they're using. In your case, I don't know who your local competitors are. Like, who has the market share? Who is owning the eyes of most of the people in your area? Look at who they are and then find the favorable numbers for yourself. And if you've got a good or decent brokerage, they can give you those numbers locally. It's like, hey, this is where we sit and this is what we're doing better at, right? And keep on going. Advertising opportunities, whatever those are. You can see most of us are going to be more on the digital side. I'm going to scroll in, zoom in there, but you can see they even have Facebook and Instagram there. You can have more digital if you don't do a lot of print. And a lot of companies don't do a lot of print right now. So you'd focus more on the digital aspects of this. Partnerships, any partnerships that you have, your company does have a partnership. In some cases, your companies own other companies, like EXP owns others, Keller Williams owns others. And a lot of people don't know, when we're looking at a company like Coldwell Banker, they're a conglomerate of something much bigger. And a lot of people don't know that because you don't tell them. So think, like, is your company part of Realogy, like Better Homes and Garden? What else does that include? It's a big environment. So this is the opportunity to bring that in right there. Hold on. Somebody asked an amazing question. Alex, is anyone still doing print? What are your thoughts? Alex, this is very specific, but the further you go into luxury, the more important print is, right? Who would have known? But yeah. Definitely print is more important the higher in price point you go. Jacob, anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like, a lot of the bigger luxury properties, whatever luxury may be in your area, I think they want to know, if the home warrants it, can you get it in a magazine kind of thing?
Yep.
And they want to know your print marketing is just as good as digital marketing.
And you would think, like, who reads magazines? So, Alex, that's how we sold one of our multi-million dollar homes off of a stupid magazine. Yep. They literally called us up. We just saw the home on this magazine. We're like, what? Yeah. So the higher up in price you go, Alex, the more important it becomes, both on the pleasing side of the seller and for actual business, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So
it's good brand.
Let's go back to it. It's amazing brand recognition. You want to grow your brand, dude? That's the way to do it. So any partnerships you have, and then the fact that you work with international buyers, depending on where you're located, this doesn't apply to everyone. So if you're located on any of the coasts or like Texas or Chicago or parts and places in the US where you get a lot of people moving into the area from overseas, it's important to show this and how it works. So for us, we're on the coast, right? LA, Malibu, Ventura County, Santa Barbara. It's important to showcase what our international plan is. Like, what does that look like? And in this case, because we have a partnership with I think it was it's been a while, dude, with Knight Frank. And they're the European version of Douglas Elliman, different company, but a partnership. We can showcase what that reach looks like, right? So people will ask, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, that's cool. So here you go. Information buyers and sellers trust. We showcase anything that we have specifically that pertains to your company, any reports. And I know I still use the wealth report. Let me see if I can find it because I find it so valuable. So Douglas Elliman. Just so you can see what it looks like. The Douglas Elliman Wealth Report, I think it's this one. And I'm going to dump it into the chat so you guys can grab it as well. Oh, it's not there. It's such a great PDF that I definitely suggest that whatever your company is doing, here it is. Whatever your company is doing, showcase it. A lot of the times, the people that we're dealing with don't even know what we have. Here's a wealth report that they come up every year with. It's a PDF, and If your company does this, great. If not, this would be great to learn from. And if you're like, well, Tristan, our company's a little bit smaller, we don't have that, then I would suggest showcasing something like Keeping Current Matters, because Keeping Current Matters gives you a national report for the US and say, this is the current state of the market if you're a buyer. This is the current state of the market if you're a seller. And then it makes you look like you have a team that's building all of this out for you. Let me click the link and send that over to you there. And if you have any questions, just pop them in there. Cheryl, while I'm switching screens, what company are you with in Canada? Because a lot of the times the company that you were with gives you other things. Remax. That's perfect. Remax is pretty big in Canada, and they do have a lot of stats. What I would look is I'd go to your broker and say, what can I find online that gives me more information about the nation as a whole of where the market is? And you'll find that they have a lot of things for you. All right, let me go over here. That's what we put on this section. Now focused on you, our network of real estate. So if you see what they did over here, this is showing you all of this. So you can kind of section it off in your head. Over here is the power of the reach, right? This is the reach. Reach, all that's important. It's how you explain this that's important. Reach, more reach, right? Reach. And now you're starting to get into transition with information. It's like, wait a second. Not only do we have the reach, but we also have some information based on that we give the reach, right? So they can research more, and we're focused on you, right? Because all of this, you see how it built out all of that? It's focused on your property. So now it's coming together. You're like, oh, I got it. Okay, especially if you're able to tell the story correctly. And then in some cases, you have to reiterate this. You have more agents, more sales, and so forth. Our strength, your results. And then you start seeing, okay, got it. This is just, remember, they're all about design, so they make it pretty. Your property marketing plan. So now it's the second section. Your property, how we sell it. So now, I'm going to stop sharing really quick. Now you're getting to the questions that they have. And if you've done a good job with the questions, with the pre-listing questions, which we're definitely not going to be able to get into, but with the pre-listing question, you see why I went to the listing presentation first? Always happens.
I love it.
So pre-listing questions, you're able to determine who are you talking to at this point. Like if I'm calling Jacob and he's asking a lot of questions about details, graphs, charts, where the market is, I'm like, okay, this guy's an analytical. I better get that type of information down. So when I'm talking to him, I can talk to that. But a lot of us jump into the listing presentation not knowing who the hell we're talking to. We're kind of guessing. We're like, he sounded nice on the phone. I think I got this. You think I'll be able to get 6%? I'm like, no, you don't even know who your audience is at this point. So, yeah, LuxVT has these kinds of resources. They do, Kristen. LuxVT is pretty good. We've used them in the past. They do a pretty good job. Now, I would want you to go to your broker first to see what they have, because from using LuxVT is very light. And you have the opportunity to dig way deeper if you have information that's coming directly from your brokerage. So know that from pure experience. So now your property, what happens before we put it on the market, right? Who's our target outreach? What's the buzz creation? And then what happens when we're fully on? You're answering questions before they ask them. And in fact, in some cases, before they think them. Like, I don't think anybody thinks buzz creation, right? Now you're answering, you're like, oh, that's right, right? So virtual home buying program, we've got that in there. Marketing tools, everything that this company gives and its availability. And a lot of companies do a great job here. We just have to showcase and explain. The part that we miss a lot of is the explanation. It's like, yeah, we've got this. But when somebody's reading it or you're telling it, we've got property analysis, we've got some, like, nobody sits down and explains to me how that's going to help me sell my home. How is that fixing the problem of selling my home, especially in this market where homes are selling a lot, sitting on the market a lot longer, right? And so that's the end of it. You can end it wherever you want. I know in some case, a lot of people go through this whole thing. And let's say you're on page 11. What is this, 12? And at this point, they're already saying, wow, this is amazing. Like, where do we get started? Some people keep on going all the way to the end. And I'm like, dude, you just missed the opportunity to close them right there. They were just telling you, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Stop talking. So part of the listing presentation, if you're going to go that route, is to also shut up and listen.
Right.
And Jacob does a great job because he leads with that first. Alex, sometimes we need to know when to shut up. All the time. Alex, I think it's all of them we need to know when to shut up. Jacob, what do you think of the presentation? I don't think I'd shown that one to you.
No, I haven't seen that one. I've seen another one that I've looked at a few times. I love it. Super good. Very in-depth and clean, but it moves along really smoothly. I think, like you said earlier, I think it's really just knowing who you're talking to is crucial. It just depends.
Yeah, I agree.
But
and look, if you're looking to build one out, I know that I always forget about this tool. And Jacob, I don't even know if you knew about this, but LCA Marketing Center, we have all these built out for you already. So Beautiful. Let's go to, which one do you like, dude, out of these 5?
Bottom, top left.
This one?
Yep.
All right, let's go and see what happens here. We can go through it, take a look, kind of outlines the whole thing. You can just plug and play. You can remove any of these. I totally forgot we had this. I feel stupid right now, Jacob. Okay. We would have gone over this one. But again, these are all you're funny. That's how you feel after I beat your ass on pickleball. I'm joking. You set yourself up for that one. But look, there's a lot of choices here if you're wondering how to build these out. It's LCA Marketing Center. And I totally forgot we had that until I was looking at the other one. But the key is understand your audience, understand who you're going to talk to. I know that there have been a few times that Jacob has gone on a listing presentation. I remember the very first one, dude, the one where you had that opportunity to get that big 5 million. Was it 5 million?
Yeah, there was 5 million off of a mistaken call.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I think with that one, it shows how important it is to have a connection with the person you're talking to. And although Jacob didn't go through step by step the pre-listing questions, he did ask a lot of questions and understood where they were. So he was going directly towards the problem. The challenge is that a lot of us throw this together and are like, okay, listing presentation time. And then we sit there in front and we're like, okay, page 1, you're going through page 2. And it's like, that's not how it happens.
Yeah.
Right. It's supposed to be very organic. And unfortunately, a lot of us force it. And that's why we don't know, Alex, that's why we don't know where to shut up.
I think I remember right when I started that listing appointment that I went on, you and I had talked about it a lot. And you said, remember, it's not a presentation, it's an interview. You are being interviewed to list their house. So if you sit and talk the whole time, they're not going to be, they might, but most of the time you're not going to get what you need out of it.
Dude, that's, I said that to you?
You said
that's pretty good. Oh, shit.
I know.
That's pretty good. Surprised. I'm joking.
Right.
But I don't remember saying that to you, but damn, that's good. I'm glad you remember it.
I hope it was. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope it was me too. And look, we don't have time to go through these, but here are some questions that we like to go through. And sometimes they come up in different order. Sometimes some of these you already have the answers to. But the point is to ask as many times as many of these questions as possible. And I know we asked one of the important ones that some agents, I'm going to go through one. Some agents forget to ask or feel really awkward asking is one that Jacob asked. And I'm going to get to it. If you were to state, no, what were you going to ask? What are 3 things? Here it is. Number 17. Are you getting any other professional opinions on selling your home? I wanted to understand our playing field. Like, what does this look like? Are we going up against anyone? Right.
Yep.
And he did ask that. And I'm going to let you tell the story, and then we'll end with that while I'm copying this so everyone can have a copy. What did they say?
I think you got to, one, be a little bit bold by asking it. And I asked it really casually. We were having a conversation. I just kind of said, like, hey, are you also interviewing other agents, people that I might know? And they were very upfront. They said, yes, we're interviewing 4 other agents for this property. It is so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. You know what I mean? They started naming the agents. And that gave me the confidence / opened the door to being able to tell them what I do different compared to that agent. So that's where then I pivoted away from the traditional sheet that I had, which I was prepared 2 ways. Basically, I have the packet and then I go off the cuff. But yeah, then I pivoted and basically just said, this is what I do a little bit different than, so-and-so. Say if Tristan was the other agent, hey, I know Tristan's fantastic. You never badmouth anybody. But yeah, I know Tristan's fantastic with social media, and, he does really well with the exposure and everything like that. What I do a little bit different is the in-person business. And I really try to make sure that people are coming through the door. So you're not putting a bad reputation out there for talking trash.
I'm going to go back to your first one, because it happened on your first one. So with Jacob, he had he got a call. First of all, they thought he was the listing agent of the property that had listed their home.
Yeah. My client had just bought a house, and the neighbor called thinking I was the listing agent, but I was the buyer's agent, and wanted to sell their property as well. So it was me against the top agent in the world.
He's one of the top agents in the freaking world, this guy.
Yeah.
And if you say his name, you'll know who it is. But that was Jacob's first competition. And because we knew that from the very beginning, we played the card and saying, hey, look, he is amazing. Like this guy, and he's a nice guy, right? And now they're friends. Now Jacob and this guy are friends. But the thing is, he's like, hey, that's true. This guy's absolutely amazing. Here's the thing he's not going to do for you, though. He's not going to be there for you on every single call. He's not going to be there for you because I'm brand new. I'm trying to prove myself. And dude, that worked. It worked. Like the people are like, you know what? You did pick up your call. You're here anytime we need you. You're just making it happen. You're hustling. We're going to give it to you.
Yeah. The owner used to text me at like 2:30 in the morning because he was a surgeon, just to see if I would answer, because I told him I was available 24/7. And I would text him back at 2 in the morning, be like, yep, I got you. I'll call you in the morning. And they loved it. They were like, yeah, there's no one that's going to do that.
I mean, and look, at certain stages in your work, right, as you're getting started, some of you do that. Like I did the same thing Jacob was doing. It's not going to ringtone on. It's not going to last during your whole career, though. So, in stages, depending on where you're at, we just want to show you that it's possible. And any questions you have, Jacob, what's your Instagram so people can follow you again?
It's just my name. I can type it here. It's just Jacob Stiegel. Boom. Yeah, follow me. I follow, everybody back. You can always shoot me a message if you have a question. And the word to the wise, my cell phone number is literally on my profile, so you can text me if you want to.
Thanks, everybody. And if you're catching this at the end or parts of it, this is recorded. If you need coaching, we totally forgot to put up the link up there. Just ask Jacob. We coach groups, full-time, part-time, whatever you want. And you catch a recording on YouTube. And I always forget, dude, I am such a fucking terrible salesperson. Let me put up the link to at least our YouTube. This is terrible.
While Tristan's pulling that up, I'll tell you guys, I'm a product of Tristan's coaching. I started as a new agent with Tristan. So follow what he says wholeheartedly. I'm a big supporter of it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I think the key is I focus on your strengths, right? That's the thing. A lot of us want to fit in. We want to fit you into how we think you should function because that's the success we've had. The moment I talk to Jacob, I'm like, dude, No, we're going to do this differently. You're different. So really good point, Jacob. I appreciate that. The last link, if you have questions for coaching, that's it. We'll see you next week. I want to really touch on the questions. So I know I touched on one, but I'm glad I started on the listing presentation, or else we would have never gotten to it. So
no, I think it was great, and it looks incredible. I'm going to use it.
I'll send it over to you.
Perfect.
Thanks, everybody.